Hello, everybody, and welcome to another thrilling installment of LaTia Interviews Everybody at MCG because it's our 10-year anniversary. I am LaTia Jacquise. I am the Community Relations Coordinator for Monte Cook Games. We're going to hear that 8 more times over the course of this year, and I'm kind of sorry about it. But I am here today with a wonderful person, a dear friend and coworker, administrative manager to the stars, one Tammie Webb Ryan. How are you, Tammie?
I am doing good. It's really nice to be with you today and doing this. It's fun.
So for the record, we did try to do this live at Gamma last month. And it was okay, but we didn't like it. So we decided to do it over.
Yeah, I think that once I realized, well, the video itself was fine. You did a great job, like working on the fly. That was amazing. But then there was also construction, noise, and people in the background. And so I thought, you know what? What's better than one interview with LaTia? Two interviews with LaTia.
Exactly. This was all just a ploy to get to talk to Tammie again.
I had to pay those construction workers out of my own pocket. So
I knew it. But regardless, we are here to talk about all things MCG and all things, more specifically, all things Tammie, because that's the point of these interviews. So let's just kind of take it from the top. So why don't you tell me how your journey with MCG began?
Well, my journey with MCG began in 2013, which would be the year after Numenera funded on Kickstarter. And Monty and Shauna had decided to make a business around Numenera, and they weren't sure where it was going to go, how long it would last, or really a lot of the directions of it, but they needed a little bit of help with just customer service questions, managing some of the data, helping a little bit with fulfillment. So I came on contractor, like a contractor, so not even as an employee. And I basically did those things. And then the longer it went, the more they realized, I think we want to do, Monty and Shauna being they realized that they wanted to do something more and to actually make Monte Cook Games into a business that employed people and that had a bigger scope. And so then we started bringing on, so we brought on Charles as a partner, actually. And Charles, for those who don't know, is my husband, and he's the COO of MCG. And then, we brought on Bruce, and then after that, I believe was Bear, and then it's just, grown. And now there's 10 of us, and we are everywhere from Canada to Chicago to Pennsylvania to here in Kansas to Seattle, and it's an amazing team. And I'm really so happy and just, so, I don't know the word to use, so happy to be part of the team and to have good friends. Like you said, you started off like we're not just coworkers, we're friends, and that's really important. So back to where I started. So I started doing those few little things with like fulfillment, and Monty was like, yeah, I think we want to do a web store. And so I was like, okay, I've never done one. Let's see what that's like. And that's kind of it's my niche that I love, actually. Sorry if you can hear my pets in the background. I love being just given this nebulous task and saying, make this happen. Here's the parameters, but the parameters are super general and broad, and just make this happen. And so at that time, I worked with John Arcadian, and we made this web system and fulfillment system, and it's been awesome.
Excellent. And so, like, just kind of like everybody who works for MCG, or at least at the beginning, you did have your hands in a lot of tasks that, to put it mildly, that when you're just starting out, figuring out what the company is going to need and things like that, and figuring out who is best at doing those things. So you've kind of been all over the place when it comes to doing things for MCG, yeah?
Absolutely. When it was Monty, Shauna, Bruce, Charles, and myself, we all took a day of the week, and that day of the week, we did the social media for the day. And it was everything from every aspect that a part of MCG that it's grown. It started at sort of that core relationship where, okay, we need to do social media, we need to do outreach, we need to form, we didn't have the asset team. We had to form a demo team. Somebody had to come up with, like, what is the relationship with the retailer is going to look like? What trade shows are we going to go to? What should our booth look like? And everything from that to, like, who lays out our products, and how do we take something, from beginning design thought process all the way through to a finished product in the hands. And, well, fulfillment's going really well. Maybe we should see if we can fulfill in England. Maybe we could have a partner over there. Oh, it's going really well there. Maybe we should try Australia. And everything has just been started with, some core ideas and a few people. And then we've been really super fortunate to be able to bring on people with more expertise and, being able to, like, really grow those positions.
Mm-hmm. I will say, now that I have stepped into the role of handling all of the social media, I bet you all are extremely happy that you don't have to do that anymore.
I cannot even, like, and you're so wonderful at it, right? Like I would struggle. I would be like, I was good at, I would go through the core books and I would find a creature, and I was really good at making those types of posts, like, oh, here's a creature, or I would write this little scenario and say, this is what you see. And those were fun and those were good. But, like, the other things, like the things that I've seen you do on Twitter, it's amazing. Like, I never would have thought of those types of little polls, or it's fantastic. And I'm so glad that you're on board.
Aw, thanks. This interview is not about me. This interview is about you. So walk us through a day in the life of Tammie at work. What does a day look like for you?
Well, going back to what I like doing, I'm really fortunate in that my days are varied, because it's something that keeps me engaged in the process. So one day might be doing accounts payable and payroll. Another day I'm doing some proofing and perhaps fulfilling a project. Another day, maybe I'm helping a little bit in customer service. We have a warehouse that is local to us. I occasionally spend time there helping. When we originally started, we didn't have a web store. Then we had a web store, and the web store, all the products were fulfilled out of our garage. So it's really nice to not have all of that product in our garage and to have a nice warehouse. And my daughter, Olivia, runs that, and I go over from time to time to help out. So I'm really lucky in that we do have several meetings scheduled throughout the week, production and all hands and marketing. So those are, those are routine happenings. But then any day can look different, which is something that I enjoy, because it does, like I said, it keeps me engaged and on my toes.
That's nice. I love that for you specifically, MCG is like a family thing. That was a really neat aspect of the company that I got to see when I came down to visit you in Kansas last year, that, getting to take a look at the warehouse and watch how all of that runs, but then just like to spend time with you and Charles and Olivia and the rest of the teen labor force, as we call our warehouse workers. That's really, I think you don't see that in a lot of companies, just kind of like that. Yes, we are a business, but we are also, like, people saying that your job is family comes with some negative connotations these days, but like here at MCG, it actually is that truth.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
One of my friends, Jeff Tidwell, talks a lot about at conventions, especially, like when you're meeting somebody for the first time, figure out a way that you can help them. It might be something simple, really simple, like just offering them a bottle of water, or it could be something, a little bit grander, like introducing them to somebody that you think that they would work really well with. And that philosophy, I've actually tried to just think of that. Like, I see LaTia as a whole person, and I try to think of the things that are going to help LaTia, right? And I know I'm glad that you said both, that I do feel like we're really close. We're all really like best friends, but we also, we don't want to have that toxicity of the family in the workplace, because that just leads to being overworked and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I love all the people I work with, and I hope that everybody here is happy.
Well, I can say that I'm happy. So you're doing a very fantastic job. So I'm going to ask you the question that everybody hates to be asked, because everybody's going to give the same answer. In the 10 years of MCG and all of the things that we have done, future things included, because right now, as of this interview, we are in the middle of a Kickstarter. What is your favorite thing that we've done?
It is hard. It's like choosing amongst your favorite children, right? So some of my favorite projects have been Thank You Evil, and I love the world of predation, and I love the Cypher system in general, simply because it is a system that I really enjoy GMing. Right now, like you said, we're in the middle of a Kickstarter, and it is for Old Gods of Appalachia. And we are fortunate enough to partner with Deep Nerd Media, Cam Collins and Steve Shell. And they are the creators, owners, operators, everything, literal everything. Those two people are the two people behind the Old Gods of Appalachia podcast. And I'm from Pound, Virginia, and we call it the Pound. That's like, if you are from Wise County and somebody says, where are you from? You say, I'm from the Pound. And it's a very rural area. And it is literally, in the podcast, Cam and Steve write and talk about Esau County. Well, Esau County is Wise County, the very county that I'm from. And as a matter of fact, they are from Wise, the town that I grew up next to. So when I found this podcast, it was near and dear to my heart. And I was a fan. I was a Patreon backer for a long time, right? And I thought, and they did talk about someday making a role-playing game. And I was like, man, it'd be really cool if MCG did that. But MCG, we generally don't license products or work as the licensee. We have some, but it's not, we typically like to make our own IPs. And so while it was in my mind, it wasn't enough that I was like asking Monty and Sean and Charles to pursue it. But I believe a mutual friend between Monty and Shauna and Cam and Steve kind of brought them together, and the idea came up, would we make this role-playing game? And Shauna is also a fan of the podcast. So we're like, yes, this is fantastic. So I don't know what this product is going to quite look like yet, because it is, it's not really even in development yet. We've made the primer for it. So we have this overall concept, but we don't have the meat of it yet. And what's super, super, super exciting for me is this will be my first ever additional design by credit. So Shauna is the primary writer and the designer, and she's really the one that's going to bring it home. But I'm going to do some consulting work on it, and I'm thrilled, because I've done lots of proofing, I've done lots of editing, but I've never been involved in creation. And so right now, I would have to say that's what is nearest and dearest to my heart and exciting me.
And completely understandable in all of those regards. Like, one of the things that I have discovered during this whole, pre-development process for Old Gods is just how much people from Appalachia love their area, when I'm going through Kickstarter comments or when I'm going through Facebook comments, like, people are so excited to have representation for Appalachia in something that is, while completely eldritch and terrifying, is positive and uplifting of the area. And it makes this a project that is near and dear to my heart as well, just because of how I don't know how much everybody wants it, like, it's something that is, yes, this is a good representation of our area, of our culture, of our this or that, and we want to see this out in the world. And so watching the Kickstarter grow as it has, and the love that everybody has for it, like, I I can't help but agree. At least at the time of this interview.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff written about the Appalachian area, right? I mean, some of it good and a lot of it not so good. And the wonderful thing about this podcast is Cam and Steve have created the alternate Appalachia world, and we now get to go play in that, and obviously with their guidance. But so it is something that we are taking, it is a positive spin, right? It's bringing together people who like gaming, who like horror gaming, and specifically, to talk about these mountains. Because when I think of home, even now, even though I'm 52 years old, when I think of home, and I've lived even in another country, I've lived many places, it kind of means Appalachia to me. I kind of think of this Wise County, Powell Valley, these areas where the mountains are so beautiful, and it still feels like home to me.
I love that. I love that so much. I'm excited that I get to share in this love of home with you and with everybody from Appalachia. I'm getting teary-eyed, like listening to you talk about it, like it makes me emotional. I love that a lot. So what do you want to say? I don't mean to move forward so abruptly. But like with this being said, and with the success of this Kickstarter, and what that means for MCG, in this year and beyond, like what do you hope for us, like 10 years later when I'm here and doing these interviews again?
What would I want to be saying? I think that what would I hope for us? I hope that we grow each of us. I hope that each of us grow as people and as being like supporting each other. And then I also hope that the company grows a little bit, and not much, but maybe just a little bit, to bring on a few more people. That would be lovely, but this is speculation. This is just, what do I hope in 20 years? It would be, I can see the Monte and Shauna and Charles, the owners, they're sitting there, and we're having a summit, and it's maybe 15 people, who knows? And we've got these really interesting young people who have these really interesting ideas, and we are sort of like just the production people who can just bring their vision to life.
I love that. I want that. More of that, please. This was so refreshing. And Miles, like we had a really good talk at Gamma, and it was a very, very good talk. But I think this is a lot better.
Good. I'm glad.
So do you have any final words? Anything that you want to say to anybody who may be watching this interview or maybe listening to this interview?
Well, yes. So first of all, I'm a big fan of Cypher Unlimited, and I hope that people who are watching this, I hope that you're already members on their Facebook and Discord groups. And if you aren't, I highly encourage you to support them, because they're our community's backbone. And I would also like to say, like, because I don't know the schedule, but at some point, are you being interviewed?
I am.
Okay, excellent. I can't wait to hear it and watch it. And I know it's going to be, so I wanted to make sure.
Oh, of course. I just haven't decided who will be the one to interview me, or if I'm going to exercise my creative bone and do something really goofy that will still get across an interview that people would want to see from me, but also just be a 100% LaTia and that kind of creativity that people expect from me.
That is going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know that everybody is super busy right now. And, I mean, I know that it takes time out of your day, and it takes time out of Bear's day to produce this. So thank you both for making this happen. And
yes,
I really appreciate everything that you do here.
Shout out to our producer Bear, who will be in the hot seat at some point. but who does all the tech stuff so that I don't have to worry about the tech stuff and trying to do an interview at the same time. But Tammie, it is always wonderful to talk to you, and I'm very glad that I got to talk to you again for an interview. So yeah, thank you for taking the time to talk with me, and thank all of you out there for watching. Um, I have been your community relations coordinator, and this has been the wonderful Tammie Webb Ryan, and we will catch you all on the internet somewhere. Bye.